How we doing, guys? Sam and Anglers. Today we're talking about braided lines. Now, braid is probably your most popular line, especially in our fisheries around here, whether you're snakehead fishing, rockfish, perch fishing now. It's starting to take over the world a little bit. Just a really versatile line. Some of the advantages of braid are going to be that thin diameter, the fact that it doesn't have any stretch, so your sensitivity is increased. But there's all sorts of different kinds of braids, and they don't all do the same thing. So starting out with what is the industry standard is Power Pro. Now, Power Pro's been out for a long, long time, and they've really innovated your basic braid. It's a 4-strand braid, and what that allows it to do is it's going to be a little bit rougher, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. That rougher texture is going to help a little bit better with abrasion resistance compared to some of the other braids you'll see. And with that rough diameter also, if you're using a really heavy line and maybe you're bass fishing or snakehead fishing a pretty heavy cover, it'll almost saw through some of the grass and really cut up some of the stuff, so you don't have as much stuff on your line when you bring them in. And then we go to the polar opposite, which is Berkeley X9. Now, Berkeley X9 is, with the name, it's a 9-strand braid. What that does, it gives you a much silkier, smoother braid, which is going to be great for casting. That being said, with that thinner profile, it's woven a little bit tighter, and that's why you feel that smoothness. Now, that's not as great against rocks and debris. You're going to have a lot of abrasion problems with it. So we're going to use this line more for finesse applications, bass fishing, drop shot fishing, all that kind of stuff where we're using really light baits, light tackle like that. Another purpose for it is just anytime you need to cast really far. That's what a lot of people are looking for, is that casting distance. So you got to take a few things into consideration as well with the 8-strand braids, like this is as well. Super Slick version 2 and the diamond braid that we carry. These are all going to be those high 8-strand, 9-strand braids. One thing you will also see with these thinner braids is these tend to be a little bit thinner than the traditional 4-strand by a little bit. So if you need that extra line capacity, this could also be of value to you. But one thing you will see with these is wind knots. These are really bad with wind knots. These 8-strand braids, they don't really cut through the air, I guess, as much as you get with the 4-strand. So that's something to keep in consideration. So if you're typically using, say, Power Pro in a 15, maybe step up to a Berkeley X9 in a 20-pound. That'll give you kind of that more diameter that you're familiar with without sacrificing any kind of line capacity or distance things. So those are a few things to look at. 4-strand braids are not just Power Pro. Spiderwire makes a great one here. This is one of our best-selling lines. A lot of people like that. It changes color for you. Colors aren't necessarily the most important thing, but looking at those strands of braid, do you need that casting distance or do you need more of that durability factor is typically what we're looking for. So we thank you guys for stopping by, and if you have any questions, come on in and ask us.